G'day folks, welcome along. Time for another live stream. I suppose I should put my headphones on. This morning we're going to be having a look at Clinchfield, which of course has gone blank on me. I have a look at the scenarios and things that are available to us, and we will drive one of them, and it'll be with the F7 because we've seen plenty of the SD40. So let's just have a look at what's available in the thing. There's 3 training scenarios, the usual introduction, an intro to the F7 and the SD40. Interestingly, the intro to the F7, you can't actually play it unless you hop into the second locomotive and cut its brakes out. That's a bug apparently. It'll get fixed, I guess. Anyway, good morning Michael, or good evening Michael I should say for you. Hope you guys have been watching We Are Rail Fans, because they've been on today. Scenario wise, we have a few. We have a switching job. It's a 130-minute switching job, so that's quite a switching job. That's a big one. Limited power, which I ran through yesterday. This one's actually quite challenging because you've only got 2 F7s to pull the same load that you normally have 4 logos for. Doable though. The Greenbrier branch, where you just lots of picking up of coal from different places. So this is one of the reasons why I got Clinchfield. To be honest with you, US freight railroads don't interest me that much, because when you get them in a game, it's usually start the thing going, put it in notch 8, and walk away and go have a coffee, have lunch, go out, go to the pub, have a few beers with your mates, come back, and the train's probably nearing the end of its journey, and that's about all you do. But this one, no, there's lots of stuff to do. Similarly, heading uphill and then downhill, same sort of things. And mixed power, which is actually the one I'll run this morning. In addition to those, we have got the timetables. We'll have a look at the SD40 first. So there's a whole bunch of different things. Now, they're also set up in journeys that you can follow through. So do them part by part by part, and you can follow all of these along. And we have the F7. Now, I quite like the F7 because Victorian Railways had a version of this thing that was the S-Class, and there was the B-Class, which was very similar. The S-Class was single-ended, like this F7 is, and the B-Class was a double. The B's got rebuilt into A's, and every now and again I used to get to drive an A-Class with a mate of mine who was the real driver. But won't go into that because we'll get him into trouble. And on top of all of those things, and I'm going to have to go out of Clinchfield, I think, because I don't want to continue my journey, but if we have a look at the different journeys that we've got, let's just have a look at them overall. Remember how I said they were broken up into journeys? These are all the timetable services, just one after the other, so you can do them as a daily run. To run through each of these is anywhere from 4 to about 10 hours, but because they're broken up into individual pieces, they can be managed a bit at a time. I've noticed in the stream I've got a giant pink thing right on my head because that's where it's putting the train sim driver thing. Maybe I'll move my head a little bit. There we go. That's better. Okay then. Normally I have it up the top, but that blocks everything that we're doing up there. So let's jump into one of these. Oh, they're also available in the Livery Designer, but I won't go in there. We've all probably seen that. I'm going to go down to the mixed power scenario and load that one up, which will take a little while. And it's late afternoon for you, Michael. It feels like afternoon for me, even though it's 8:34 a.m, because I was woken by a thunderstorm with lots and lots of hail at about 5 a.m. And then I watched the We Are Railways stream. So hopefully the sound volume of me versus game is okay. And it's all going on, just looking. I actually seem to be dropping some frames, which is a bit disturbing. Like a lot. Is that affecting the visibility of the stream? It's kind of unusual that I am. I'm just going to pause this and check what my stream settings are, because this is quite a worry that it's dropping that many. I'm not sure if I can change them midstream, but we will see, won't we? I'm allowing plenty of space. It should be streaming at 1080p, so it should be okay, but it's not. Oh well, maybe my internet's just sad this morning. Hopefully it's not affecting the stream too badly. Thanks, Michael, saying everything looks fine. So we were just waiting for this one to go past us, and we'll set up our locomotive, so I'll jump back in and start doing that. Naturally enough, gauge lights. We have 4 locomotives on this train, so I have to set the unit selector to 4. It doesn't actually do anything in the game, but in reality it sets how many locos you've got, so it sets the correct dynamic brake voltage. I'll set this for freight, make sure that brakes are cut in, which is good. I'm not going to release those yet, but I'm just going to put the rail driver into the same thing the game's trying to do. And I will bail off the loco brake, if it'll let me. Cool. Now let's headlights. Turn on all the things that the engine needs and some other lights, and that's all we can turn on this one. And we have transition on this one, so we're going to put that into series parallel, which is where we'll be for this run. There's also series parallel shunt, and for dynamic braking you bring it back to the B or brake position. Its dynamic braking in this locomotive is kind of old-fashioned, first generation, and a bit weak. That's okay, let's just pop that back into 2. You use on the rail driver, the transition up and down keys. Now, reverser into forwards. And we should be ready to get going. Okay, we've got a green signal up there, so I'll just stop this thing bouncing around. Now, let's just zoom in on the amps before we release the brakes, because we want to make some power. It's a bit sad that my lever was in run 8 then. It's a good thing the game didn't do it. Alright, let's build some power up. Now, interestingly, the game says to release the brakes, but if you do, you'll start rolling backwards, and then you'll get horrible wheel slip. So you can feel the loco starting to pull. Now you can release the brakes. And we'll just pop outside so we can hear this thing power up. Bit more oomph. We'll probably have to get it up to notch 5 to really get it moving. Looks like it's going to go on 4 this time. Now, if I disappear partway through this stream, hang around. I'll be back as quick as I can. I've been having some blue screen of death problems. I'm kind of hoping I've resolved it. I had a misbehaving storage driver that I've rolled back to the one that came with the motherboard. So we'll see how we go. It's looking a bit jerky on stream. It's looking a lot jerky on stream. I'm just watching the stream monitor and I can see this is massively, massively jerky. I really do think I'm going to have to kill this and change my settings and come back. Alright, I'll be back in just a tick. I'll pause the game so we don't miss anything. Well, okay, hopefully this is better. Just have to wait the 20 seconds or so. I'm still showing as red. Just going to stop this. This is pretty bad. 6,000 kilobits. Okay, we're back again. I'm still showing as red, so... Oh, no, green again now. Alright, that's a little bit better. My dropped frames is dropping as well, so I think this is going to be better. Yeah, dropping frames is going right down now. So I've had to drop the resolution. Alright, so hopefully this is okay now. We'll know in a moment when I see it catch up on the stream. I'm going to get pulled back into the locomotives in a minute anyway, because we're going into a tunnel. And it's all in the green now. It's all happy. Okay, hopefully you guys are now seeing this. Good morning, Richard. How are you? So hopefully that's not so jerky anymore. It's looking a bit better in the stream monitor now. Way ahead of you, mate. Okay, let's head back into the locos and let's power this thing up just a little bit more. Go up to 5. Michael, how does the stream look to you now? That's good. I'd love a lot better, but I'll settle for a little bit better. It was pretty bad. Whoops, wheel slippage. Where's the sand button? Sand! Sand's not going to solve this one. Back it off. Yep, even going that far back's not going to do it. There we go. Back up to 5. Oh, my headlight's so dim in there. Okay. Now let's try and ramp it up again. Just wondering how the FPS is going too. Oh, that's nice and stable. I'm attempting to drive with minimal HUD. So we'll see how we go. Not much to look at while we're in a tunnel. Driving without the HUD's a little bit challenging because you can't really see the speedo because there's a horn cord in front of it. Could be better placed. There we go. As soon as the back of this train clears the tunnel, I'll be able to show you what it looks like outside. Because you can't change camera keys, or you can't change your camera settings until the whole train's out of the tunnel, unfortunately. It is a very impressive route. It looks quite nice. I've had to... Morning, Roy. Thank you. I've had to change my settings somewhat in the Unreal Engine to bring them back a lot to get back to a decent frame rate, because I had some issues with this route. It's got so much detailed foliage that it slowed the computer down, and I feel sorry for the people who are playing this on consoles who can't change their settings. Let's see if we can get out now. No, back of the train must be still in the tunnel. That's okay. Well, we'll look around the cab. So we have a conductor who we can come over here and annoy. Hi there. See, she won't watch you. It's funny. Let's open her window. We can open the... actually, no, on this one you can't open the door. You can open our window. There's not many switches and things you can play with in this one, so you can't open these panels. Not sure if you can open engine room door. No. That's life. The control stand for this thing is fairly accurate. Let's see if we can look at the outside now. We can. Still a bit jittery, but I'll put up with it. Alright, let's just go and fly along and follow this thing. I'll get up ahead of it and then we can look at it come past on this corner before we drop into a tunnel. I'll shut up so you can enjoy the sound. It'll drag us back in, there we go. So we've got an F7A, an F7B, which is the one with no cabs, it's just a slug. There's an SD42 next in the line, and another F7A bringing up the rear. Yeah, the route is quite nice, Michael. I think playability wise, it's probably maybe my third favourite. I think that looks-wise, it's certainly the most impressive one that Dovetail have brought out to date. It's really quite cool. The only thing I think is disappointing is when you play in the snow, the trees still have leaves. That's sad, but I understand why. There are limits in what you can actually do in the simulation. I don't know if anybody's seen Colonel Failure's initial stream of this thing. It's quite funny. It's worth a look. So we're currently running uphill. We are barely managing 20 miles an hour in Notch 8. So while you do have some long runs on this thing, they're not so long that you get monumentally bored. Even though it is very typical of US freight, we just whack it in Notch 8 and go, go, go. Until you're running downhill, then it gets a bit more challenging. Can we get out of the train? Yeah, we can. For those of you who haven't seen it, I'll try and replicate a little bit of Colonel Failure's entry. I thought it was quite impressive. Let's get up here where we can't hear the train anymore. We need a convenient tree somewhere. This one will do fine. So his intro was just based on the forest sounds. There's no sounds playing at this one, but it was something along the lines of, "Today we're here to watch the birds flitting around in the forest. And to hear the best of the birds and to make sure we don't startle them, we need complete silence." And about that moment, his train appeared. Mine, of course, is too far away because I went too far forwards. Yeah, I saw that, Matt, that he didn't turn up on the stream. Michael, rather. Yeah, Matt didn't seem to understand why he wasn't there either. Interestingly, I think he was probably making his Clinchfield video then because it was published right after that stream. He probably just forgot. It's cool that all the cars are actually separately numbered. There's duplication across trains, but not in the same train. Weed cam. Oh, corners and tunnel. Oh well. And now I'm massively zoomed in for some reason. And I can zoom in more, but that's the extent of what I can zoom out. That's interesting. What time is this in the stream? This is 51. Okay, so 21 minutes in. I'll record that and put it in as a bug. We'll just have to sit here and look at gauges for a little while. Sorry. We're very short now. Oh, I'm not even in the chair. I'm on the floor. Okay. So if I get out of the chair and get back into the chair. There we go. Alright, coming up to a passing loop. But we don't have to stop here. Oh, there's a fence to be fixed there. I can't jump out because we're still got the back of the train in the tunnel. I'd hop out and show you what one of the collectibles looks like. There's several different collectibles on the route. There's fences to fix, and you can spot those from a distance. They have yellow tape on them. Good luck slowing down in time. And in a lot of the places where you might do it, good luck getting started again. But there's also collections of coal that you dig up and bag, and there are tree stumps or logs to be cut up with an axe. Let's see if we can get that flyby going again. Ooh, bit close. The detail's quite nice in the locomotives. The couplers are particularly good. Can't see into the portholes though. You can see into the train. Whoops. That was really bad. Oh well. Let's go find somewhere else to watch him from. Are you thinking of the cars that were in the siding there, Richard? No, they're not collectibles. You can pick them up on some of the routes, but not this one, or some of the scenarios rather. Mind you, there's nothing really stopping you doing it in any scenario, as long as they're hand-operated points. If they're centrally controlled points, you won't be able to do it. And what I mean by that, if we have a look at the map, you can see how there's points here. I can't click those, so they're centrally controlled, which means I wouldn't be able to get in there. Yes, Travis, the second grey one is the slug. We'll go back and look at that at the moment. This is the first freight train in Train Sim World 2 that has a caboose, or in Victoria we call it a guards van. Can, I think... Oops. Come on, let me do it. No, it's not going to let me do it. I'm going too quick. Maybe. Maybe. Come on. Let me open the door. Okay. Now let's see if we can get in there. Oops. It's bouncing around a lot. No, not going to be able to get in, but you can actually ride in the caboose. You can spend an entire trip in there if you want to, with one of the AI drivers driving. Just leave that door open. And back into the train. So we're still 4.2 miles away from our first stopping point. And current gradient 0.7, so that's pretty easy. We are now coming up on our speed limit of 30. But just so this stream doesn't go forever, I'm actually going to speed. We'll just let it keep going. And just to show Travis while we're here, let's pop outside again. So the A is the one with the cab. And then there's the B, which is the slug. Which is that one. If we can get these trees out of the way. So the Bs don't have any kind of cab on them. About to go in another tunnel. And a yellow signal coming up. 2.3 miles away. I'll worry about that in 2.3 miles. Now you can open the windows on the sides here. Anybody who had a car from the 1960s or remember the quarter panel windows? And the window winders work, but oddly enough you can't wind with a window winder, but they do move. So I've now gotten over the speed limit, but I'm just going to keep going over the speed limit, because otherwise this stream will go for an hour and 40, and I think I'd lose all my viewers by then. Welcome to the new people, by the way. Good to have some more people on. I'll notch down a bit, because 40 is about as far as you want to go if you want to stay on the track. So hopefully I'm out of the tunnel. Yep. This is one of the coal loading facilities that's used in some of the other scenarios. So you drive under this thing and it will fill up your cars. It only fills up a couple at a time. Should go over and have a look at the water, if we can get all the way over here. It's better, but it's still not great. I think Rivet's water in a Rosalini is actually nicer. The rocks are pretty cool. I sort of think they've actually made their rocks with photos that they've blended into the 3D scenery. They look a bit too good. Just got to remember that signal's coming up soon. Jump back into the cab for that. We're going to go in a tunnel anyway. Down another notch. If people are actually interested in seeing some coal loading, when we get to the red signal that's coming up in the not too distant future, if you want to, I can swap runs and we can have a look at some loading. And you can see how challenging it is to manage the dynamic brake at low speed too. Now my dropped frame rate's gone back to 0, so that's happy. We've got 2 miles to our red signal, so I won't start slowing down just yet because we are actually going uphill. I might notch back a little though. This is one of the bigger coal loading plants, so I'll hop out of the train again when we get here, if the back of it's out of the tunnel yet. It is, good. So this one's capable of filling an entire train, but there's a bit of shunting to do here. Interestingly, this one hasn't even got a through road, so you have to put things in and take them out, put them in and take them out. All part of the fun. Now, if we were driving on the flat or downhill, I would have started slowing down by now. Down and look at the train on this bridge. So the river's not bad. I hope when they upgrade Unreal Engine later this year that they enable some of the ray tracing capabilities, because then we'll get better reflections and better shadows. Now we've only got a mile to go to that signal, so I probably better get better get back in the cab and start preparing to slow down, because even though we're going uphill, this train is still kind of long and kind of heavy. Loading up the entire train in the scenario takes about an hour, but you don't have to watch all of it. It's just a question that Richard asked, how long would it take? Is you have to pull through the loading points very slowly or it doesn't fill the cars up completely, and then you have to go back again, because it won't let you leave until you've got them completely full. Just like a real railway. They'd be just a touch shitty if you ran half full. I don't know if you guys know any of the history of the Clinchfield trains, but basically it's mining coal in the mountains of West Virginia and taking it to power stations, and these trains run all day, every day, taking coal to the power stations. They're still around today, although CSX operate the route now, I think. And most of the branch lines are gone, only the main one. Now, one thing that Dovetail have done in this route that I like is the extra long warnings for upcoming signals. Brake into first service. I'll give it some more in a moment. You can see the speed starting to come down now. Give it a lot more now. So we can jump out here. Just do this properly though. The game doesn't make you do this, but when you're leaving a train you should neutralize stuff. Now it's so high up they actually make you climb down the ladder, you can't just jump out. So there's 2 collectibles here. They're actually done, so I won't do them again. But there's fire buckets to fill up that you have to go and find. And you'll see little piles of coal with a shovel sitting in them, and when you go over them they turn into bags of coal. Now I'm just seeing the other train come in here, so I'll just pop over and we can theatrically watch it come past. They do seem to have done something about the roller bearings in the train. It's a bit jerky zoomed in this far. Because those of you with experience with the game would know that in Unreal Engine there's no way to make something rotate. So they have to fudge it. But I'm pretty sure they've done something with the roller bearings because they look quite good. Better than their previous attempts on the sand patch. The signals are kind of nice. The glass effects. I'm not sure if it's actually going to let me fly or not. Come back here and try it. No, it's not going to let me fly. Okay. But anyway, the glass effects on the lenses is quite nice. It is actually relatively directional. It does change a bit as you go around, which is quite cool. And as usual, there are force fields that stop you going places you shouldn't go. So I can't get any further than that. You can follow the train along the bridge though. You can even jump on it and have it carry you away. While we're here, one thing I haven't tried is, can you get into a slug? No, you can't open the door. But we can jump in the SD40 cab while we're here. And you can see what it looks like in there. So these ones interestingly have conductor's seat and a jump seat. You can't sit in the jump seat though. Now it's a slightly different version of the SD40. So it's a Clinchfield specific version. There's normally a flow valve here. So I don't know if that got replaced at some point, got replaced by this, or if they didn't order it with a flow valve and put one on later. Could be either, who knows. It's got the very 1980s radio. One of the interesting things about these is they don't have the banking com feature that the other ones have, so it looks like trains in Clinchfield automatically drive together. And I have a faint suspicion that that was the result of that mysterious patch that came out that talked about, I think it was pin 17 or something in the cables. So if we climb down the steps, in these cables between the cars, one of them is an electrical control cable. I think it's that one. No, that one looks like it might be brake. But one of these is an electrical control cable. And they added a pin to that. And we've got a green signal. Close our door. And now you're going to see starting on a grade. So we'll bail off the loco brake. So the brakes on the train are still applied, but the brakes on the loco are no longer applied. Back into forward. And we'll go into notch 3, and we're going to be wanting to not 4. That's going to cause lots of wheel slip. 3. Come on, you. 3. Fine then, stay on 3.5. We've got lots of amps coming on, so now we can release the brakes. Now bear in mind this is a really long train, so the brakes released very quickly on the locomotive, but it's going to be a while before the back of the train releases. So the train started to move forward then, the locos are starting to pull, but the back of the train will still have its brakes on for at least another minute. And it takes quite a while to recharge that. So the locos are now pulling against brakes, you can hear the wheels squealing. Greetings, Go Loco podcast, otherwise known as Adrian. And Michael, yes, you're right. That was the train that Sam uncoupled some carriages on and left himself just a little bit stuffed because he blocked the junction. If you haven't watched Kernel Failure that Michael and I are talking about, Google Kernel Failure on YouTube. He's quite funny. He, when he's streaming, he has 2, 3, sometimes 4 different personalities, and he talks to himself. I've never quite figured out how much of it's real and how much of it's put on, but it's very funny. Oh, well, rather than ride this one up to Delano, let's jump off and look at some coal loading. So I'll just come out of here, back to the main menu. And then we'll jump in and do some coal loading. We'll use one of the scenarios, I think. I'm trying to remember which one it was. Collect coal from various industries on the Greenbrier branch. There we go, we'll do this one. Some of the services do allow you to collect coal. If you stop near them, it'll load if your cars are empty. But it's a bit unpredictable. So it's nice and rainy. Makes it even better. And of course I didn't neutralise the rail driver, so it's all in the wrong positions. We still want some brakes on. Let's bail off the locos though. You know what? We're not cut in yet, are we? We are. Ah, that one. I haven't done that. Alright, now we'll bail off the locomotives. And we're already starting to roll even with the brakes still on. Everything is already set there, I think. No? Oops. Would help to turn some stuff on. Let's have nice bright headlights. I believe there's 2 locomotives in this one. 3. Okay. Let's set that to 3. You notice this is rolling down the hill. Excuse me. Even with the brakes on, which is interesting. So, and we're still in off, so I'm going to bring that back into dynamics. Now we have to wait a little while. I know it wants me to set it in series parallel, but I'm not going to. We should be able to crank it up now. Not really hearing dynamic whine yet, though. There we go. Now, weirdly, in the cab, it sounds like the engine's powering, but outside... And today it sounds like it's powering, but normally it sounds like a dynamic whine, which is what it's meant to sound like. The world's noisiest wiper. You release and reapply these brakes shortly. The scenario is being very insistent that I do what it wants, so any of you who've played this game, you do just have to do what the scenario wants sometimes. Yes, the brakes are already in release. I'm not going to apply any more power, but I am in fact going to go back into transition because I want to go back to dynamic braking because I want to be ready. Adrian or Go Loco podcast just asked that the stuff I talk about, is it related to in-game properties of the train or an actual train? Or are both the same because the simulation's very accurate? The simulation's pretty close. They're not exactly the same. For this locomotive, I think it's probably as close as you're going to get. For the newer stuff, most of the railroad companies would not want it to be exactly the same. Because if it was exactly the same, then you'd know how to steal a train, wouldn't you? So hopefully we are on B, so hopefully this will engage some dynamics and start slowing us down quite a bit, because we are way too fast for this tiffle. I'm going to use some real brakes too. And hopefully I can slow us down to 3 mile an hour by the time the first coal carriages reach the tiffle. Yeah, it looks like we're going to make it. It might even stop, which would be a bit of a bummer. It's downhill. Let's see what it does. Still doing 0.4 mile an hour. It's speeding up again now. 0.5. 0.6. Ah, we've stopped. Alright, back in the cab. I want to sit there and show you some coal loading. So let's just drop our dynamics back off and let it start rolling. And now we'll start bringing them on again. I think 4 should about do it. Alright, let's pop out and watch some coal loading happen. Give it a bit more in the dynamics, because we're getting a bit quick. Still getting a bit quick. Dynamics are very slow to brakes to react. Let's give it a little bit of locomotive brake too, just to bring it down, which you should not do. Bad for the locomotive. Bad for the brakes. Bad for everything. So you can see the coal's loading now. If you're watching me look off to the side, I'm monitoring the speed on the rail driver. This thing. So this won't fill up all the cars, it fills up a few. And of course, just as I zoom in, it wants to go to the next one. So off we go. Now the next one's not far away. So I'll release the loco brake and we'll just let it drift up in speed a bit. How annoying are those wipers? If you play this game, drop the Dovetail people a note in the forums to say the wipers are too loud. And oddly enough, if you turn them off and use them by hand, no noise at all. So it's not very exciting to crawl along here at such low speed. And interestingly, it's producing lots of exhaust even if it's in dynamics. It should not be doing that. So that's another bug. This is sort of another area where it is fairly realistic because in a real train, even though it's quite a long way, so 700 yards, near enough to 700 meters to the next one, if you let the train speed get out of control at this point, you will find yourself in a world of hurt when you get to the other tipple and you're trying to slow down, because these things are heavy. Just for our purposes, I think I am going to let it speed up a little. And we were in 7 on the dynamics then. That was, yeah, a lot. I'll leave the dynamics on, sitting on 3. I hear some movement from upstairs. There's people in the family getting out of bed at 9:21 in the morning. Good on them. I'll wander up and show you where we're going. Since we're going there so slowly, I can walk faster. Actually, I'll show you this while I'm here too, because the train's far enough away, we'll get away with this. So remember I talked about human-operated points and centralised ones? This is a human-operated one. So if we look up here now, the track's switched against the train now. And then we switch it back. The track's now switched for the train, so it can get through here. But all the way along here somewhere is this other tipple. I wonder how much of the mine we can get to go look at. Oh, quite a bit. The Suburban. Typical American 80s car, and I've run into a wall there, so I can't go any further. Can you get down onto the riverbank? Oh, you can. You can even get in the water here. Cool. Hey, look, it's raining on that side of the bridge. Yeah, not that side. That's kind of funny. There's another one of those switches. So same again. You see the tracks move. Noise is fairly realistic, I suppose. Our train's covered a whole 200 yards or metres in the time that we've been chatting. So this is where we're headed to. Interestingly, which way did I leave those points set? Because we want to come up this side. Race back and have a look. Ah, they are correct. We'll sit here and wait for the train to come past. So you can hear some bird noises in this one. In the trees. Well, it's not too far away, you can hear the horn. You can hear the bell. No. Let's go see how it's going. No, it's only just coming off the first bridge. Let's bring the dynamics down to... I don't want to turn them off, because they take a while to wake up. We should just make sure we are still going downhill. Oh, we're on a flat. Alright, I will turn the dynamics off. And wait a little while, and transition. Okay. Powering up. Talking too much. Can't resist. Now, we're still on a flat or not? We are still on a flat. Start throttling down, because we're going to want to crawl through this tipple like the other one. Just touch a brake till the needle moves and then release. You can see that's still affecting the train as the ripple of the brakes going on and off again goes down the whole length of the train. So we're now back down to our coal filling crawl of 3 miles an hour. My train. There it is. I'll go up here. Interesting, it says we're 62 yards away, but, you know, we're not. Pretty accurate. So there's another fire bucket here, which is done. It's nice to hear the motor sounds. So we'll just sit here and watch it. Actually, I wonder if I can... I can go up high. Good. Let's sit here and watch it. Sounds like it's coming in. Ooh, look at that speed. Too much. I should have been keeping an eye on that. Alright, let's release now and hopefully we'll get down to... Oh, we're too quick. We're going to have to push it backwards. Might just let it roll back and finish filling that car. In fact, we'll do that. Jump back into the cab. Stop that now. Because if I leave that car that way... You must be on a gradient again. Let's give it some proper brakes then. Alright. Into reverse. Is that enough to make us move? No. There we go. So we're now pushing uphill would be my bet. We're just going to come up here and finish filling these cars and then we'll move forwards again. Because if I try and leave with them partially filled, it's going to be a little bit problematic. the HUD. And we're on a flat, so I don't know why it's slowing down so fast. It's interesting. The real loading stations are most likely operated by humans. Just answering a question from Travis. Come on, get to the car that's only half full. I'm probably getting some wheel slip. Let's do some sand. Alright, so it's filling that one that we only half filled up. And we'll see if it puts any more in this one. Because I was going a bit fast for this one too. Yep, it's putting some more in there. Not much though. And these other ones are the ones I filled at the other tipple, so it shouldn't put any in these. Alright, let's go back in the cab. And stop again. And just let that settle back into forwards. In a real train you wouldn't go from forward to reverse this quickly because you'd probably break a coupler somewhere, but this game does not simulate that, so we're going to cheat. Now that we've started moving, even though we seem to be on a flat, I don't kind of think we are. So this gives me a little while to get the dynamics woken up, and I'm going to cheat with loco brakes to get our speed back down temporarily. You would not do this in real life. Come on, dynamics, kick in. Speed's starting to come down. Hopefully we're not at those cars yet. Alright, we're going to come down to 3 now. Yeah, we're just going to sit here while it loads coal. Still dropping, so bring the dynamics down a bit. Release the loco brakes a bit. And that's starting to pick up again. I have to stay below 3. It's quite a juggling act. Imagine doing this for a living, it'd be really stressful. Yeah, we've gone over 3. Back down to 3. Might be okay. Sitting here on full loco brake would wear out your blocks very quickly. Yeah, it looks like it's going to hold fairly steady now. No, it's going up again. Ooh, that one's not full. You may have to do a dreaded pushback again. These ones are filling up okay though. But there's a lot. And these are some that we prepared earlier. It's up in the top left-hand corner where it says load coal. You can see the percentage complete yellow circle. If that gets to 100, we're sweet. Otherwise, we're going to have to push back and fill up again. But for the purposes of this, I won't do that. We'll just drive. Even though the scenario will get mad at me. Michael, have you found the donkey in this route yet? Ah. Here's a buggered fence. We can fix that while we're here. Except we can't because I'm not really here because I'm only in the camera. Oh well, we'll do that one day. Let's see if we can go over here. Imagine driving your truck up that. I'm going to build a house. The double wide. Great American mobile home. Invisible wall. Our tipple is still loading. We'll go up the road. No, we can. Well, not all the way, but we can. Sets us up for a roll fan shot. And this is real railway life. Hurry up and wait. Yeah, I haven't found it either, Michael. For those of you who are new to Train Sim World 2 who are watching the stream, on every route that Dovetail Games produce, they put a donkey somewhere. Sometimes there's more than one. I'm told there's two in Clinchfield. I haven't found either of them yet. I believe you can only find the second one after you've done the mastery. So, as I feared, if we look at that little circle up the top there, let me just bail off the loco brakes so that engine does not stall. If you look in that little circle up the top there, you can see that we did not completely fill up with coal. So I'm braking the train to a stop and bring it down out of dynamics. And you wait your requisite 10 seconds before you change. Near enough. And then guess what? Back we go. Let's build up some amps. What I'm talking about building up some amps is on this gauge here. You want to have some power applying to the wheels before you release the brakes. Otherwise you just roll. And that is quite realistic. So the train's a lot heavier now. So we need a bit more to move it. Not moving yet. And putting 800 amps into the traction motors. And if you look at the little sign here, it's designed for a continuous rating of 825 or a quarter of an hour at 935, so we can give it some more oomph. And wheel slip, so let's give it some sand. Now, using the lead sand should not actually work when you go backwards. It's just a deficiency in Dovetail, but if you use the back sand, Dovetail don't tend to count that in the game. And the reason lead sand wouldn't work is it's dumping sand on the ground where the wheels have been, not where they're going to go. Now, I don't have to be quite as paranoid about the speed now because we're only going to fill up the cars a little bit, the ones we missed. And as soon as it says 100%, we can stop and get out of here. Into a wall. There's a lot of them, isn't there? Ran into a fence. So it's only going to be one car or maybe two cars with that percentage complete. Now, if you had to do this for real, you'd probably have to fill out paperwork and contact your signal or your dispatcher, depending on your country. There we go, so it's filling up that one. Try and move the camera to get the perspective right. There must be one more car. Is it still not 100%? And while you can drive out of here without being full, chances are the scenario will have a signal set red somewhere and it won't let you past it because you didn't fill up. There's another one. Oh, it's still another one. More. Bonus points, not. Well, that one was full. Maybe we didn't fill one completely at the first tipple. Not going back there. And see, Roy, if you're still here, it's nearly as exciting as flying planes. It's just slower and you're on the ground. So close. And done. Yay! Okay. Into forwards. It is a lot like watching paint dry, yes, or watching grass grow. So consequently, I'm going to ignore the 5-mile speed limit, and we're just going to go out of this yard. Because sitting through a 5-mile limit after sitting through that would be less than pleasant. Now remember that train we saw that we had to stop and wait for? This is that one coming back. So if we go all the way up to Delano, we'll find that train that we drove the first time sitting at the top of the hill at a red signal. Well and truly over the 5 mile an hour limit now, hitting 25. Little bit quick for these corners, but I'm confident it'll stay on. Just got 4 in. Those of you not familiar with American trains, it's 2 long blows, 1 short blow, and then 1 long blow through the crossing. .40 might be getting just a little severe for these corners. 45 probably a lot severe for these corners. Hope we stay on. Otherwise it's going to be messy. Ooh, 50. Must be going downhill now. Let's have a look. We are very much going downhill. Alright. Into dynamics. So I've got brakes on and you've noticed it's made no difference whatsoever to my speed. So let's give it some more brake. I'll be a little bit surprised. Oops, I released them. Be a little bit surprised if we stay on the tracks here. Just a little bit. So even with all the braking that this train's got, I've got to bail off the locos because the dynamics are slipping. It's still taking a long time to slow down. You've probably all seen those videos on YouTube where some poor bugger trapped on the railway crossing waves at the train frantically to stop so it doesn't hit their car. But it does anyway. Alright. Now I'm pretty sure we're going back uphill anyway. We are. So I got to come out of dynamics before we start rolling backwards. So if we hadn't started going uphill, I wouldn't have been able to stop this. Sit here and wait for the brakes to come off at the other end now. And moving again, very slowly. That was an adventure. Almost a calamitous adventure. I'm quite surprised that stayed on the track. I really am. Now, nice bright headlights gone away again. There we go. We don't need the wipers in here. Funnily enough, it doesn't rain in tunnels on this route. Some of them it does. Let's see if we get away with another notch, since the track should be drier here. Yes, Roy, we saw a lot of scenery really fast. I lost a few viewers during that wild run. I suspect they might have been a little bit disgusted with me. Come on. Pick it up. Yeah, I know, it's wet. Pick it up. Come on. You're not going to. I'll just keep the sand on until we pick up some speed. Well, that was fun. Blue screen of death. Boom. Sigh. I wonder if any of you are still here. Here we come. Coming back to life. Very slowly. You can do it, computer. Naturally enough, we're... Ah, Michael's still here. Okay, back to Clinchfield. Alright then, what I might do... actually, could take requests, what we might want to do. But while thinking what we could do is have a look at some of the collectibles, if you want to. Oops, I just need to pause this video on my phone or you'll be able to hear it. Sigh. Oh well, we lost most of the viewers. Well, I did. Down to... Oh, back to 4. Well, look at that. A couple of people came back. Good stuff. Alright. Why don't we just pick a place? Actually, we can explore on foot, can't we? Let's pick a place and let's go and find some collectibles. So... Oh, well. It's as good a place as any. Let's go there. And see what we can find. I thought I'd solved the blue screen of death problem, but obviously I have not. Richard, the game does save, but generally you don't try it. Dovetail aren't well known for their ability to save games. Well, let's just go for a wander and see what we can find. There's a curve greaser. But I'm tipping they don't look quite like that, because they wouldn't be sitting on top of the rail. So I might go around this side of it. Oh, I've walked my first mile. How about that? This is just a storage track, isn't it? This is a boring place. There's a building up there. Can we get up there? No. I was hoping to find some collectibles so I can show you what they look like. I think my choice of place was 4, shall we say. Well, there's some signals. Alright. This place is a bit boring for collectibles. Let's try another place. Where do we try this time? Probably not. Oh yeah, Berta Junction. There'll be signals and things there. We'll see what's there. Maybe we'll find a cake. There's a train here, we could steal it. Are any of these the logs I get to chop up? No. No, none of those are choppable logs. Oh, we've been here. This is where we were before. So we've seen these collectibles. That was a shitty choice. Should we make this train roll away? That's a bit mean. Alright, let's go to a place we haven't been before. Richard asks, are there any Australian lines? No. This is a bone of contention. No, there are not. Now, there are in the previous generation of this thing called Train Simulator. There's quite a lot. Blue Diamond Mine, Caledonia Loader, Caney Storage, Crooked Loader. Have we been there? Yes, I think I have been there. Let's try there. That gives us two places to look at. I'm going to Dant. The two most requested areas for routes that aren't in the game currently are something around New York, so we've filled a fire bucket, or something in Australia, so we'll see what they do. We could annoy an AI here, couldn't we? You make the turntable move. There you go. So these things are the scenario markers where you can start the scenario. So we could start the introduction. But I want to go and find collectibles. And we can see what they all look like on this line. Nothing there. What's the scenario? That's the shunting scenario. You can get a good look at all the locos here. And I think they all do have different numbers, which is cool. I can see a broken fence over there. Let's go fix that. Not that you just run across the tracks like that or anything. You know, I have to know if you can go up there. No, you can't. Can't get in. That's a bummer. And you can't go in any of the buildings, unfortunately. Coal silos, maybe? Diesel tanks? Who knows? That looks like it might be all the collectibles that are here. Where are we on the map? Yeah, right near the end. I see a caboose sitting up there. Let's go look in that. Couldn't show you the inside of that before, so we'll go look in there. We'll see if there's any collectibles up near these towers on the way. Lots of busted up concrete. Doesn't look like there's anything much around here. Not even a donkey. Last time I hopped into a caboose for a look, the train left. So on these, the handbrake works. Stove. Office desk. There you go. Very exciting. Sit in a chair. And you can't go in the toilet because it's got a padlock. And you can go and sit in the cupola. And sit up here and look out that way. Not that way. Or you can look out the front. What else works in here? Handbrake doesn't work. It looks like a brake gauge, but it's not doing much. Probably no engine on the train. Alright then. So I guess on that note, we have explored the caboose, we've looked at carriages, we've loaded coal, we've driven around, we've had a blue screen of death. It's been an interesting experience. The BSODs, by the way, had nothing to do with the game. My computer is suffering from them even with nothing running at all. So I did think that I'd managed to sort that out, but obviously I have not. But I hopefully get it sorted out before next week's stream, so I will see you next week. It'll be at 8:30 again. Not 100% certain what it'll actually be on yet. It could be more Clinchfield, or if the next update for Arosa comes out. You reckon there should be fences to fix here? Should be some more. But there's a new bug release due for Arosa. I haven't seen it formally announced, but I've seen enough rumours of it. If you're watching the We Are Rail Fans series, which is on today and tomorrow, it's in the middle of the night for the Aussies, which is kind of boring, but the thunderstorm that woke me up at 5 a.m. this morning, I just went, bugger it, I'll watch it, so I did. My guess is if they're going to announce a route, it's going to be something in New Jersey, so maybe expect NEC to come back, because they seem to be hinting around that sort of area for their next one. Anyway, thanks very much for watching, and apologies for the BSOD, and see you next week. Bye now. I should fix this slide, shouldn't I? 9 a.m. It'll be 8:30 a.m. And yes, Michael, tomorrow should be interesting. Hopefully we find out there is something new coming. Yep. I'm about to go off to a park and have some burgers. So enjoy yourselves and have a good one. Bye.